many years have come and gone since that day. How many years have I waited for this moment? For the one that stood alone against the storm. For the one they called the Warrior of Light. What sayest thou, Master Matoya? We may accept this fate, or defy it, but we cannot deny it.
Deny? I am not wont to run from my troubles. Until our friend returns, I will hold the line.
This town certainly has changed, and not at all for the better. I'm not going anywhere. I promise you, Minfilia.
This tragedy, greater even than the seventh umbral calamity, must be undone. If history must be unwritten, let it be unwritten.
You must. Become the warrior of darkness.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. Alright, there is a ton to cover. I won't be getting into everything, but the full trailer has finally been released. I do want to take a quick a quick mention to thank Brian over there at Work to Game. Awesome stream last night, dude. It was amazing. I love the commentary, love the collaboration with the other content creators. Really great job. Thank you so much for that. It was an amazing experience. Thank you so much. But today, a couple days ago, I went over some speculation about how we could be missing a few key elements into the trailer, what has been mentioned, what hasn't been mentioned, what people have been speculating. I didn't even take in consideration the reference to the Crystal Tower, but a lot of players did think that that was going to be a very important part of this new expansion, and it was added because it was part of that little moment when you were going through the Echo and you recap. There was a quick scene of the Crystal Tower, and that is an amazing revelation, and I'm so happy that players picked that up. Good job. Awesome. That's really cool. Yoshi P did mention also that we are going to the first, because Heidelin did separate herself and we're at the source, and we're going to be going to the first because the first is finally being it's meeting its end due to the light winning. And so in a lot of the trailers that we saw or game footage, we saw no dark areas. Everything was being lit up and pigmentation was being lost, and it really reflected well in the footage. I really enjoyed Yoshi P's it was being translated or under the notes, but I really liked the explanation going into it. Also, quick overview: we are getting 2 new races due to the Varian, the rabbit class or race, the rabbit race, only being females. And now we're getting male lions. So really cool. 2 new races, and also been confirmed 2 new jobs. So we're getting, of course, the Gunblade, and we're also getting the Dancer. I was speculating the Dancer was going to be a healer. I know a lot of people speculated, but it's actually been confirmed to be a ranged physical DPS class with the ability to offer support. So support DPS class. I'm really looking forward. I don't know how I'll feel about it. I don't want to use the chakras, but there are different ranged weapons that we can acquire in that job. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to checking it out. But I'm more pumped up about the Gunblade. But in this video, we're going to be covering some of the parts of the trailer, what's been confirmed, and more speculation as how it's going to tie in potentially to the storyline, and my theories on what I'm seeing. But, you know, I could be wrong. But I never had so much fun being wrong, so it's kind of cool. So let's get into it. So we're going to go back to the beginning of the trailer. Now, this has been updated on Square Enix's website for anybody who's going to question this, where it's at. Okay, so we see a battle, right? It's a very big battle once again. I really like the change up of the opening. The music's awesome, by the way. Once again, we see the Alliance flags. We see the Empire flag off in the distance. This is kind of important. We see a ship, you know, a wrecked ship. And of course, the sword.
How many years have come and gone since that day?
Now, here's the thing. At first when I heard this voice, I thought it was us. Like, here and now. But now, I actually think... Now, remember, Hydaelyn has splitting, right? And there was a part of the game when I played and I was unlocking Dark Knight that I had to fight against myself, right? Spoiler alert. I had to fight against myself. And I remember towards the end, like, I'll always be here when you need me. And it was like my dark side that was suppressed by me, right? And now what I'm starting to believe, since Hydaelyn's actually broken off, that we are, it's like there's fragments of us as well. And I actually don't believe that this voice is us. I think it's a fragment of us on that other shard that is basically telling us the events that has happened to him, and he's pulling us because that version of us can no longer do anything, and I'll be explaining why. He now is to the point where he is incapable of doing this without the assistance of us. So he needs us, another version of himself, another version of ourselves, to assist him into rectifying this problem. Okay, so keep that in mind, because he said years. How many years? So it's like, okay, at first I honestly thought it was like, you know, a time displacement or variation. But now I honestly think this has happened already on that particular shard, and he's relaying his story and calling for our help. Okay, so we'll continue.
How many years have I waited for this moment? For the one that stood alone against the storm.
Great CGI. Now look,
for the one they call.
He falls in the background. So this has already happened. It's not going to happen. We don't know, but the Warrior of Light.
The Warrior.
The Called. Now here's another thing. Now keep in mind in this part, right? We look a little displaced, right? We're literally like trying to get ourselves together. Like something has happened to kind of, you know, it's like we almost traveled through a wormhole or something. And then the echo happens. Typically, the echo occurs when we're seeing somebody else's events. We're reliving somebody else's events, right? That's when the echo kicks in. But for some reason in the trailer, we were seeing almost like our own experiences that we already had gone through, with the exception of seeing the Crystal Tower. And it makes sense that if we're experiencing not our past experiences from our shard, but the past experiences of our other self in the first. So we just traveled from the source to the first. So this is the first. This is where the light is basically consuming everything. When we come in, now we're basically experiencing our other past experiences. So just follow with me. I know it sounds crazy, but so it's ourselves on this shard, and we're experiencing his experiences through the echo because it's different. Okay, so it'll play here, and you'll see the gremlins saying no one left because it's towards the end. Everything's being consumed. Every life is being consumed. So, and he's like, it's your end. Now it's your end. Okay. See him stumbling. The tree's starting to wilt. Very disoriented. Here comes the echo. There's a crystal tower. Okay, now I want to stop this. This is exactly what I thought it was. We are in the Shroud near Gridania, and it was said last night on Work to Game. It looks like a calamity. So it is where I thought it was located. And this is really cool because this is exactly where they stood during the opening of A Realm Reborn, or the initial game, when we saw the cutscenes of the calamity. So we're almost right. We're right where it started.
What sayest thou, Master Matoya?
Now, this is another thing I thought was interesting because he is referencing her as Master Matoya. So, for some reason, I do believe that Master Matoya, once again, we see the staff, that's Master Matoya's staff, is inhabiting Y'shtola's body. How and why? That'll be a part of the story. But it's very clear that we are no longer here because she states, until our friend returns, I will hold the line. So this is happening at the source, and we're at the first. So while we're at the first, we see Urianger and Master Matoya, you know, dealing with what's going on in this shard. So kind of interesting. That's my speculation. Once again, I could be wrong, but it seems evident, but you never know. There always could be a plot twist.
We may accept this fate or defy it, but we cannot deny it.
Deny? I am not wont to run from my troubles.
Now, you'll see we're fighting almost an angelic figure. It has been announced our new protagonist is named Innocence. And I honestly think that this is the incarnation of Innocence. I could be, once again, could be wrong, but it almost has a same angelic figure. It also could be a Sin Eater, because that is the new, mobs will be fighting in this expansion. That has been confirmed. So this could be another form of a Sin Eater, but the way the facial looks, it almost reminds me of Innocence. Well, once again, we'll have to see how it plays out, but I do think that this figure is tied in with, it's either a form of innocence or tied in with innocence.
Until our friend returns, I will hold the line.
Okay, this is the new city that everybody, okay, so there's a slum underneath, and then the fat cats, or, you know, the aristocrats are living it up because it's the end of the days. It's been confirmed. Yoshi was like, you know, they're living it up because they've come to accept that it's all going to end. And because of that, we see them up here in this city. What's kind of interesting, though, is what plays out after. So now we are going below the city, and this is where we see the cave. Now, initially, I thought this was Reverend's Toll, but Thancred is obviously over here in the first. How he gets there, how that applies, I don't know. And we still see a form of Minfilia as a child. But is this our Minfilia? Is it their Minfilia? Because we also see, I like the saying, the eyes are the gateway to the soul, right? Because in her eyes we see her, the form of Hydaelyn, right? So is it Hydaelyn absorbing this form of Minfilia? Or why is Minfilia so young? Is that a reflection of innocence because of youth? Because when we're young, we're considered innocent. And how does this play out? This is really interesting from a metaphoric standpoint, because we have a young Minfilia with her eyes reflecting, you know, the soul of Hydaelyn, which the eyes are the gateway to the soul, and youth is usually associated with innocence. So just kind of things to, you know, process.
This town certainly has changed, and not at all.
Now, he said has changed. So, once again, this may not be our Thancred either. This could be actually the first Thancred. Because how can we assume that Thancred's been here before? Is it another part of the story? Is there something that we're not catching on? Is this our Thancred? Because remember, our scions are in a coma. And we were told by the calling, and we were told to throw wide the gates, right? But is this our Thancred, or is it their Thancred?
I'm not going anywhere. I promise you, Minfilia.
Now, this is kind of coming up to a very important part. You'll see everything's lit, and then here we see the Crystal Tower. Everything is so bright, right? Because Hydaelyn has won. Remember, she split herself off, and there's a struggle going on between each shard, right? Or each part where Hydaelyn resides, between darkness and light. And some of it, the dark has won, but in this essence, that the light has won. We also seen the Warriors of Darkness coming to our realm to do what? Try to save theirs. And this is what we're doing. We have been called to throw wide the gates, to come over here and do what we must to try and save it. Of course, here's the clip of the dancer. Okay, now this becomes interesting. Now, when we come in here, we see the stars and we see the lines. And we see this quite often when Hydaelyn is speaking with us, conversing with us in almost a spiritual. It's like we're experiencing firsthand, like we're directly in front of Hydaelyn, though our physical form remains. So our ether's almost pulled into an atmosphere like this every time Hydaelyn tells us something or we see something in this state. But in here, it's a full physical manifestation produced by the Crystal Tower. But look what happens right here. Now here's a cloaked figure, almost like Ashian in a way, looking at the crystal. And you'll see it's not us talking, it's him talking. That is almost the confirmation to say this is us, but it's us, but in a different shard. And look at his hand; he's becoming one with Hydaelyn. Like the Warrior of Light is becoming a part of Hydaelyn in all this. So, or becoming one with the Crystal Tower. And I think this is why he's taking his powers and using it to pull us here. And he's the one communing with us. Throw wide the gates. Only you. He's the one. We're the ones reaching out to ourselves and doing what it has to draw ourselves over here to assist, to help ourselves, and to defeat it. You know, making it right.
This tragedy.
There's the crystal hand.
The seventh umbral
the crystal hand. And you'll look at his face. It's covered. But he's speaking. And he's the one telling us the story.
Calamity must be undone. If history must...
And there it is. If history must be unwritten, let it be unwritten.
Be unwritten. Let it be unwritten.
No, there's the light, the shining light.
Become what you must.
And he's telling us. He's telling us, become what you must to defeat it. I cannot do it. It has to be you. I am already so far in the light. I can't do it. You need to become what you must. That's why you're here. Now this is interesting because when this happens, this moment, you'll see walls of darkness start to form around the light. And this is what I mean by, we mean by throw wide the gates. Because you can almost see it. It almost is like the gate because we see the Crystal Tower on the other end. And everything else gets pushed back by the darkness. See? The walls, the gates, it's like gates, and in front of us is the Crystal Tower.
Become the warrior of darkness.
I really like this trailer. Love this trailer. Square Enix, amazing job, guys. Once again, work to game, Mr. Happy, all the content creators for this game. Thank you guys so much. Thanks to the community also for giving. What I really like about this community, everybody's involved in the storyline, the raids, how if things tie together or if they're side quests, which have a lot of depth to them as well. But everybody's so involved. And now I find myself as well becoming enthralled and enjoying even the speculation of what's to come. It's amazing. Great job, man. I want to thank everybody for watching. If anybody has any questions, comments, theory, speculations, commentary, please post below. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Once again, I'm Mr. Craven. This is Mystics MMOs. And as always, thank you. Have a nice day.